It's your boy D Money. We on another day in the life of a designer. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. About to give y'all 2 lives tonight, just because I wasn't able to do the other live I'm doing tonight last night. So let's just get right into it. We're gonna be talking about the problem with fashion's definition of success. So make sure you tap in. Make sure you also check out our From the Mud collection, which is available on our website. The spoken word album is on all streaming platforms. We just dropped 2 new videos, From the Mud, Twinkle Twinkle, and Grease is on the way. And then we also got our poetry book, which is on all book platforms and at your favorite local library. So make sure you tap in. So all day ones know we have an opening question, and that question is, what if the industry has been measuring success by the wrong things? This, episode follows our previous episode where we talked about fashion's identity crisis. The previous episode asked what fashion is supposed to be. This one asks what the industry has been measuring and whether those measurements actually represent success. Excuse me. So, the first thing is, what does winning actually mean? Fashion gives designers a familiar scoreboard, which is, revenue, followers, what I'm saying, celebrity wearers, press, retail placement, sellout drops, fashion week, virality, brand valuations. But most of those automatic answers don't size up winning for a fashion brand. So what's the automatic answer? Comes down to, did you build something important? And the differences between visibility, profitability, influence, and longevity. The virality trap is that a viral moment can create the illusion that a brand has arrived. But attention doesn't equal demand. Demand doesn't equal loyalty. Loyalty doesn't equal profitability, and profitability doesn't equal legacy. So a designer can win the internet for 48 hours and still not, have any sustainable business. What happens after everybody stops talking about you? What's good, Vicky? Appreciate you for tapping in and subscribing as well too. What's good? What's good? What's good? Please make sure you guys subscribe, like live as well, and share with your friends and family so that way they can, catch these gems we dropping at Dreams of Ruler Street Fashion. What we primarily talking about tonight is a problem with, fashion's form of success. So stay tuned. You feel me? I don't even know what you were saying in that. But pretty much, the internet, doesn't really create a sustainable business for you. It just creates visibility and attention. You know what I'm saying? When you sell out, it isn't, always a win, because everybody has, the obsession with selling out, their products, but selling a product, just because you made 20 pieces, you had an enormous demand, you underpriced it, you created artificial scarcity. Those are, different business situations. And the deeper question is, did you sell out or did you build demand? That's a much more interesting measurement. You feel me? The customer isn't, the only measurement. A successful fashion house should be, measured by what it actually accumulates over time. What the fuck? Anyway, the customer isn't the only measurement. A successful fashion house should be measured by what it accumulates over time. Design language, archive, intellectual property, customer loyalty, production capability, financial strength, cultural influence, institutional knowledge. A single collection might make money, but a body of work that creates an asset. You feel me? So, the ultimate test for us at Dreams of Rulers is, if Dreams of Rulers became financially successful but lost its identity, would I consider that success? Or would I reverse it and be like, if Dreams of Rulers maintain its identity but never develop a sustainable business, would that be success? And neither is, extremely enough or even thorough enough for a brand to succeed. The objective is, create creative integrity plus, what I'm saying, economic sustainability. That's the much, higher standard for Dreams of Rulers and, what our goals are for the brand. But building something that compounds overall, what ultimately would compound would be, a recognizable name, a strong archive, customer trust, a signature design language, uh, distribution, intellectual property, media, experience, reputation. All those things fit in the framework of having a brand that is fully integrated. And what fully integration means is that we're able to operate and, produce everything ourselves. We don't need, any middleman or manufacturer or whatever in order to, control our business. One good collection should make the next collection more valuable. That's what, we try to do with each collection that we create. From the Mud is just, an offspring of Views from the Trap and other collections, but it has its own aesthetic, own vibe, own feel to it. You feel me? One customer should, potentially become a long-term customer. One piece of content should become part of, the historical record. That's how, a fashion house compounds instead of constantly starting over. You got to redefine the scoreboard because you're creating your own definition of success every time you step out or, any time you show up. It's not did everybody see me, and it should never be, did everybody see me, but did I build something that becomes harder to replace every year? And, fashion taught us to look at the scoreboard, how many followers, how much revenue, a brand made, who wore it, did it sell out, did it make magazine covers? But those numbers only tell you what happened yesterday. They don't necessarily tell you what you're building for tomorrow. And for Dreams of Rulers, success can't simply be selling clothes. It has to be building something that accumulates value, the designs, the archive, the philosophy, the customers, the knowledge, you feel me, the reputation, and eventually, the institution. Because if every season starts from zero, you're not building a fashion house. You're just running another campaign. And when I look back 10 years from now, what will prove that I actually built something? You feel me? That's the main goal. So ultimately, like I said, man, you got to create your own form of success through what you're doing, your goals, your dreams, your vision, your philosophies will all align with, those things. And if you stay true and hold true to those things, you will see those forms of success in tenfold. So, like I always say, put a solid plan together, do the research. And once you do the research, you'll be able to actually achieve your dreams and goals. So keep visualizing. Like I said, make sure you check out our From the Mud collection, which is on our website. And I'll be right back on the live in a few after I record on Kick. So that way, I can give y'all the new episode. Bro, I got a fucking mustache on. It means I'm a fucking grown ass man. Fuck you coming on my live for with that nut shit? Are you a fucking stud? Get the fuck off my live, ho.